Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Leadership Lessons with Cheri. All the things going on in the world of leadership these days. I'm super excited to be able to come to you through this podcast on YouTube to share my little nuggets of wisdom with you and help you be the leader that you were born to be. Before we get started with this week's episode, I want to share some exciting news that I got to be part of last week. I was actually a featured guest on a podcast called The Room. I'm not sure what date that episode will release, but lots of great things were discussed during that episode about leadership, school leadership, and also leadership in general. One of the things that we both discussed, and the host is amazing. She's just got such a calming demeanor about her, and I just loved listening to her. But what we discussed is how important it is to really empower your people and take care of your people. And that's what leadership is all about. I talked a little bit about balancing your masculine and feminine energies and leadership skills, because you got to have both, really. And really learning and not being afraid to admit when you make a mistake, all the great things that come with that most awesome, most powerful position in any organization. So I will make sure to get that information out to you when it's ready. And hopefully you'll be able to take a listen and gain a little bit more information than what I share just right here with you each and every week. So having said that, welcome back to Leadership Lessons. We are on week number 11, and I'm excited about today's topic because we're going to be talking about knowing when you need to ask for support. Now, let me tell you how I got inspired for this little topic today: social media. I'm going to be honest. Now, when social media first came out, I was very skeptical, right? I was actually at my 20-year high school reunion. So yes, remember, I am old. But we had gone back to Iowa for that reunion. And up until then, I had a smartphone, so to speak. We went through the era of Nextel, where you had the little walkie-talkie with it, and the flip phones and all the things, but iPhones were just coming out. And I remember, and this was in 2009, because I graduated in 2009, and I had a great opportunity to connect with a lot of my friends from high school, and even some people that maybe I didn't necessarily hang around with in high school, but became closer with as we got through college and started our adult lives. And I remember my core group of friends were sitting there as we're having our dinner, and they said, "Oh, well, we haven't seen you on Facebook." And I remember looking at my ex-husband and I'm thinking, I don't even know what Facebook is. And when you're in the thick of things, you work and work and work and take care of your child and work and take care of your family. Social media was just not a priority to me. So as we got talking, we started to discuss more about how it's a great way to connect. And I went home after that weekend and I got myself a Facebook account. And about 6 months in, I started to think, I don't know about this whole Facebook thing. And it just so happened that the following summer in 2010 is when I ended up splitting with my ex-husband, and we got a very fast divorce. And I learned a whole lot of things on social media that maybe I didn't need to know, or maybe I did need to know, and that wasn't the way I really wanted to learn about things. And I coined the phrase, Facebook is the devil. And I still hold true to that today. Sometimes I think that social media is used in a manner that we're a little too free with our opinions, with our thoughts, with our personal information that's going on, right? But I guess you can do that in person as well, not just online. And so maybe it's not necessarily that Facebook is the devil, but maybe more without boundaries in our lives, we can get ourselves in trouble. But nonetheless, that's my little story about how I got onto social media. But now, as an online entrepreneur and someone who is really working hard to build a business, social media really is a tool that I absolutely need to have in my life. And it's a great way for me to share the information that I put out on YouTube and all of the other things. So I have to retract my statement that I don't think it's the devil, but I do think that sometimes we need to be a little careful about what we are sharing. And most recently, I've been seeing a lot in my principal groups that I am a part of, in different business groups that I am a part of, hearing from business owners, leaders, school leaders, district leaders, the overwhelm that people are feeling. And think about it. The economy is tough right now. Politics, I don't even want to get started on something like that, but it's out there. People put so many things on social media. I am very hesitant about watching the news. I watch it for the weather because I'm praying that we're going to cool down here in Houston pretty soon. But I do try to catch some national news every once in a while, just so I can kind of stay up on current events. And I do that purposefully, but I also limit it purposefully because sometimes you have to question, right? How much is skewed? How much is actually opinionated? Although there might be some fact involved, everybody puts their own little spin on things and turns the story to where they want. Knowing all of that and knowing that this overwhelm and this stress and these pressures are here, and then this perception that we all have as the leader that we should know everything, I think we get into that cycle or pattern of, if I ask for help, I'm going to look like I don't know what I'm doing. If I ask for help, I'm going to look inadequate. If I ask for help, I'm going to look weak. But I think the true characteristic of an excellent leader is knowing when you know and knowing when you don't know. And knowing when you don't know, but how do I know? How do I get the help? How do I get the support? Because I said this recently to a very close person in my life. If you just keep running on that hamster wheel, spinning and spinning and spinning, you're just going to expend your energy, but never get anywhere, right? And if there are things that you don't know and you don't do anything different to be able to get the support so that you learn them or so that you can figure them out, you're basically doing that same thing. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about giving yourself that grace, giving yourself the permission to be able to say, I don't know. And then figuring out how you figure out. And it might be asking someone for help. So let's talk about this a little bit. I was one of those people that I get it, feeling like if I ask for help, I'm going to look weak. I'm going to look like I'm not prepared. And I'm a highly competitive person. I'm a high achiever. I want to be the best. And I had to learn very quickly that it was okay to ask for help. However, I had to also learn to ask the right people for help. Now, I think this is probably the most important lesson in all of what I'm going to talk about today. And I'm going to give you an example of a time that this really turned around on me. There are people like me, very competitive, very high achievers, and very knowledgeable, hardworking, will work to figure out the answers to almost any situation. And I made the mistake one year of feeling like this was a trusted person that I could have candid conversations with. This person would come over to my office at least once a week, check in, just see how things are going. And I got pretty comfortable. And I started to think, I think this person is out to help me. They really want to see my school grow, get better, and be one of the top schools in our district. And a situation happened. So we're about 6 months into this partnership, so to speak. And I had started sharing some things. I don't know if I know the answer to da 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 da. I don't know if I know how to solve da 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 da. And about 6 months later, one of a higher up people came over and said, I've been told that maybe you're struggling over here, that you may need a mentor. And I was kind of shocked. And I thought, where's this going? So I kind of started to ask some questions, and I said, well, things are going pretty well. We're making improvements. We're seeing some great things with climate and culture. I'm not really sure where you're getting this information. Well, after digging a little bit into this, come to find out, this person ended up trying to put me under the bus, trying to twist what we were talking about in our private sessions together when I trusted this person, and trying to make it sound like I didn't know what I was doing. Everything worked out for me because I'm a very honest, very transparent, very authentic person. And basically, I'm very good at building relationships usually. And so I was able to talk with this superior administrator and just say, look, come over and see what we're doing. There's nothing here to hide. Here's how this all came about. I came in feeling like I could trust to have a conversation. We were bouncing ideas off of each other. I mentioned that I didn't know about such and such. That led to another conversation. I said, there's not a problem. I will ask when I need help, but I should feel that when I do ask, I'm trusted to be able to be vulnerable, to be able to ask for help, and be able to get the help without it being a judgment on what my skill level is. Now, of course, if I'm asking for help on every single task, every single day, and I'm not a brand new leader, okay, then we've got a problem. But knowing that I need to be trusted to be able to be vulnerable, to be able to ask the questions. If not, is that the environment that you actually want to work in? So again, I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from this, but I do want you to hear me say, find your trusted people, find your circle, find your mentors, find the people that you can ask these questions to, and get the answers. Because the last thing you ever want to do is tell somebody, I don't know, let me find out. And then you never find out and you never get back to them, because that's going to knock down your credibility just as much as giving them an answer that's totally incorrect. The other thing that I think we all have to remember in this is we are overwhelmed, and that it's okay to ask for the support that you need and then utilize that support. So for example, I was going through my divorce, as I mentioned. It was 2010. It was the first day back for administrators in our district that when it all happened. Perfect timing, right? And we had just come off a year where our state assessments were changing, and state assessments are a big deal. And we saw some dips in our student achievement, and we needed to really be focused on moving forward and getting our kids to the right place with these more rigorous assessments. My headspace was not in the right place. It definitely was not. I knew that. I knew myself, I knew my skill set, but I also knew that my personal situation was going to affect at least the beginning of the school year. I needed to be able to know I could find the help that I need to help avoid some more overwhelm and stress. And then I had to tell myself, when you get the help, use it. Don't just go to someone and say, I need help. They tell you what to do, and then you just go, okay, and then you just don't do anything with it. I will tell you, as a coach and a consultant, as a former school leader, as a teacher, just in my whole life, as a mom, as a daughter, as a sister, that's one of the most frustrating things to hear. Especially when someone just says, and I think it's a coined phrase, yeah, that makes sense. Maybe I'll have to try that. They're not going to try that. So make sure to tell yourself, when you go seek out the help, utilize it. Now, are you going to use it the exact way it was given to you? Maybe not. Maybe the person didn't totally understand your situation, or they're not you, or they don't have the same personality as you or skill set as you. But take from it and do something with it, because when you can find those people that can really support you and give you some extra assistance, and then you don't take it, they're going to stop supporting you and giving you that extra assistance. I can promise you that. I can't tell you how many times somebody has come and asked me for help, and then it just kind of got to be, well, no, I'm not even going to waste my time and address this because you don't do anything with it anyway. So I think that's another key piece in all of this. And then I want you to really, really, really adapt this whole concept of, just because you don't know something doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you inadequate. It doesn't make you any more or less of a leader. There just might be something you don't know, or that you need a little help with, that you just need a little help with. It's okay. Give yourself that permission to be vulnerable. I know it's hard, especially as being the leader, right? Because you're supposed to have all the answers. You're in charge. The buck stops with you. Your name's on the bottom line. I can keep saying all these phrases that kind of reiterate this, but it's going to be okay. Again, if you start to find that you're asking for help all the time, maybe that's a time you need to step back and reflect and find out what's going on. Maybe you're just overthinking things or whatever, but that's a conversation for another day. But the main point here is that you give yourself the permission to ask for help when you're feeling overwhelmed, because here's what's going to happen. If you don't know something, and as I mentioned, you're just expending your energy and you're not getting anywhere, it's going to pile up. And now something that probably could have been resolved pretty simply is going to be way bigger than what it ever needed to be. And now, instead of being something small, it's something huge. And we know big things require big attention. So if you just ask for the help when you need it, to the valued and trusted person that's not going to put you under the bus for asking for the help, and then taking action on it when you get the help, I promise it's going to go a long way in helping you be that leader that you were born to be. All right, y'all. Hopefully, again, you got one little piece of information that you can take and run with, and you can really start building your skills. I do ask, before you sign off today, listening to this, share this with at least one person, maybe even an up and coming leader. Because I've also been seeing a lot on social media that there are a lot of people out there thinking about leadership positions, wondering if they're ready, wondering if it's the right move for them. And maybe hearing some of the real life stories and techniques and tips that I have here might just help them make those decisions. I'll link things in the notes today about my leadership academy. If you do know somebody that's an up and coming leader and they'd like to get a little more support making that decision and then securing that job. But more importantly, I want to come to you each week right here on Leadership Lessons with Cheri, because I want to give you as much content as I can for free. My purpose in life is to impact as many people in the world, to build a life that they love. And if you love leadership and you know you were born for greatness, I want to be able to be part of your journey and help you attain to all those goals and dreams. I will see you next week, right back here on Leadership Lessons with Cheri. Until then, let's make the end of September the best of September, and let's get into October strong so we can finish out 2023 on a path of success. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye.